Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Talos of Tech, live on Twitch with the Galaxy Z Fold 2 5G. What a mouthful, Samsung. Can we really work on, if you're going to work this hard on a foldable, you might as well come up with something that's easy and catchy and simple to say. TV Tube! Holy crap, he reached 24 months. 2 full years of Twitch Prime. Thank you very much. Appreciate the subscription, as well as Very Complex for subscribing for Twitch Prime for 12 months. He's reached his year. TVTube reached 2 years. We've got all of the annual traditions in today's stream. Thank you very much. And thinking of getting a Fold 2, he says, man, $2,000. This is, ironically, it's the best foldable yet, and at the same time, probably the most expensive one on the market. I know the Huawei Mate X was going to cost something like $2,600, but that one did not end up coming out. I don't think they even ended up selling that one. It was just kind of a proof of concept type product, but I never recall it actually going online for sale or anything, which was far more expensive and probably way less durable because you're taking this plastic external screen with all its creasiness and fragility and wrapping it around the outside of the phone, which in my opinion just seems like a bad idea. I'm looking at it now and seeing all these little imperfections on it, but I guess that's what the screen protector is for, right? Which I'm reading can be removed by Samsung. They just don't want you to remove it because they're worried you're going to break it or something. I'm worried I'm going to break it, so I haven't taken the screen protector off, specifically because Samsung asked me not to. So if they ask me not to and then I peel the plastic off and it breaks, then that's going to be kind of on me. But yeah, a screen protector that you can't remove, in my opinion, is kind of stupid. I don't really get it. But Mr. Bear Cow, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub for 9 months. That's a long time. Appreciate it. So yeah, I should address the T-shirt. There is a Tesla event today, and I do not have any plans on streaming my reaction because Tesla events are very, very different from Apple events. We probably have a big overlap of fan base here in today's Twitch stream. But basically, Battery Day is much more informative. It's more of a lecture than it is. I would compare Apple events to movie trailers, as in they're exciting and they're well edited, and they've got really cool angles and shots and unveilings and really cool angles and things. Whereas Tesla events aren't really like that. They're more of like it feels like a class you're walking in on. Because they will go into all of the nitty-gritty details of battery cell production and chemistry and how cells work and the materials they use in their supply chains. And I don't think an event reaction would be very interesting. It would mainly just be me going, that's cool. That's really good. So I don't think an event reaction is warranted. The reason I'm doing this is because last year I did an event reaction to Tesla Autonomy Day, and it was not fun. I mean, it's informative and you learn a lot, but it is not like a, whoa, look, there it is. It's not like a product unveiling like an Apple event or an iPhone unveil or here's all the new iOS 14 features. So that's why I'm not doing a reaction. I will be watching, I'll be tuning in, and I'll do a recap after the fact, but I'm not planning on doing event reaction. Anyway, are apps optimized for the cover display? I guess it depends on how you define optimized, because honestly, I've been using the Galaxy Fold for several days now, and I don't even think it's a Samsung problem. I think it's just an Android problem with software optimization on screens like this. I mean, there's a lot of, in my opinion, wasted space on the outside display. It's very tall, but as soon as you want to type something in the keyboard, like this keyboard is a joke. I mean, you can technically type on it, but the keys are so tiny. It's not an enjoyable experience to type on, and like it works. I mean, the app isn't glitching. It's not as bad as the Surface Duo. I will absolutely admit Samsung has a much better, more smooth software experience than what Microsoft offered on the Duo, which was a joke. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed my rant on that. But yeah, the software is just scaled to these two different, very weird aspect ratios. I mean, let's be honest. For one, this is almost a complete square. It doesn't even quite look like 4x3. They look very, very similar, and because apps are not really designed to be running on an aspect ratio like this, they feel like, okay, you got text going really far this way, but not much information. I mean, I can see like a tweet and a half at a time when scrolling like this. I guess I can do the split screen thing, which I did this morning quite a bit, but it's not. This doesn't feel, in my opinion, very fleshed out either because now when I'm doing dual split screen apps, one window feels very, very crunched in. They both feel pretty crunched in, and you do get the full size keyboard, which is good, but it doesn't breathe as well as I guess what I'm used to on iPads when it comes to software optimization. Very complex. Donated 100 bits, says like Flossie Carter says about these expensive flagships. You gotta pay to play, right? I guess you gotta pay a lot to play with your toys, but I don't think that constitutes it as being worth it. Fables asks, plans on the Duo and the Fold 2, you keeping them or sending them back? So yeah, I'm not planning on keeping these things. If one I really ended up enjoying and I wanted to use on the daily, which in case you didn't know, I'm pretty much using Android and iOS on the daily now to avoid smartphone addiction. I know that sounds backwards, but I detailed it more on the podcast, which is essentially I'm keeping my work apps on the Android phone, and I'm not putting any work-related, for the most part, any work-related apps on my iPhone, just because it's too distracting for me in my daily life. So I'm trying to get better at disconnecting from social media and checking Discord and Twitter and the news and that kind of thing. So I'm using an Android on the regular now, and if one of these really stood out and I thought they were worth the money, then yeah, I would keep them. But I have not reached that point with an Android phone. I have not reached the point where I felt like it was worth it or one of them was better than the other. It's just the ratios here are quite bizarre that I feel like Android as a whole and the third-party developers who are designing apps, like I'm having a glitch right now in Discord, for example. I'm trying to switch channels here. Oh, there it goes. I'm trying to switch to a different channel, and anytime I tap outside, it won't switch. It'll just stay on whatever channel I'm using at the time. So that's kind of frustrating. The apps feel very, very skinny when you're doing them in split screen, and then when you're not doing them in split screen, they feel very, very stretched out. It's almost like these apps were designed for 16 by 9 displays, not square displays and super tall displays. So they're kind of they're kind of backwards, and it doesn't feel like YouTube is the same situation. Like their Android as a whole is not great at tablets, but I mean look at how big the thumbnails are when scrolling. It was clearly designed for a phone, and now it's just being blown up, stretched to the size of a tablet. So you kind of have to use everything in multitasking mode to really enjoy the app the way it was meant to be, and then it still feels pretty scrunched up. But it will not be a rant. I know I'm going off on some of the negatives right now, but I'll admit I was very impressed when I first got the Galaxy Fold, and I had a lot of time playing with it, and I'm still enjoying it. He's talking about Bruce Wayne. We hear, okay, fine, Bruce here. No, I agree with Flossie. In my opinion, this is a very, very fun, cool toy, and you got to pay to play because it's expensive. Android 11 coming to only 3 devices in the world. That's right, very complex. What 3 devices will get Android 11 this year? Fables donated again, says, why not just have all the work-related apps on an iPad? What's the purpose in the Android? For one, the iPad is basically dedicated as a external monitor for the most part. I guess I could switch to work apps on the iPad, but there's certain things that I want to do one-handed. And that iPad is more of a laptop 2-in-1 than it is video thumbnail maker than it would be for just like, I'm still working, but I want to sit down on the couch. I'm on work time, or I want to do something quick on the phone. So yeah, I could do it on the iPad, but I want to use Android more regularly anyway, and the iPad is typically set up as a dedicated part of my workstation. Pixel 3, Pixel 4, and I think a One Plus. Is that all the Androids that have been sent to me? Is that the question? Technically, the Fold is running the tablet version of Android unfolded, so app unoptimization isn't a fun experience at all. Well, I think I can't really tell if it's running the tablet version. What's the difference? What makes the tablet version of Android different on the inside? Because honestly, this just feels like normal Android phone stretched out. Let me see. let me unlock it on the OnePlus 8 here. You can see what I mean. Like, I don't see what's so different about tablet Android versus tablet mobile. I mean, you still got your app library, you still got Control Center in the top, you still got everything up there. Like, it doesn't feel super different to me personally. Um, that's all the Androids getting 11. Oh, I see. All the Androids getting is it Android 11? Yeah, I guess it is. The Z Fold 2 feels too small to be a tablet and too narrow to be a phone, but it's supposed to be both. Just a thought I had. Yeah, that's pretty much my consensus as well. But I will say it's very interesting. Like, most of my complaints with the Z Fold 2 come down to software, not so much to hardware. I can't really complain too much about hardware. I mean, other than aspect ratios, like the build is good. It feels very high quality. The crease is there, but it's really hard to notice mostly in after using it for a few days. Durability is no longer a top priority or a top concern for me when it comes to foldables. I mean, yes, they don't have water or dust resistance, which kind of sucks. And I think it would be great if they can find a way to make that work in a foldable. But for the most part, I don't have as many doubts as with foldables as I used to. I will admit that, and the Fold did that because, in my opinion, of all the foldable devices I've tried, this is probably the best one. This has the best case of being a two-in-one hybrid device, a phone and tablet combined. And it's not great. No, it doesn't make me want to ditch my iPhone. No, I don't think foldables are the future. But are they in the future? I would say there's a better chance of that now based on my experience with the Z Fold 2, feeling like, okay, I think there's a market for this. I think I can understand why some people might want a product like this if it gets cheaper and more affordable. Right now, I would say hardly anyone outside of the tech community would be willing to drop $2,000 on a device like this. But having used the larger I think it's 7.6 inch display on the inside at 120 hertz, which is awesome. I really like that. It's just, I think the biggest problem with the hardware has nothing to do with the cameras or the displays. The display qualities are pretty good. It all comes down to the aspect ratio. It just comes down to, essentially, it's not even necessarily the aspect ratio as much as it is Android not being very good, and third parties, because Android has to resize and change to so many different ratios. Android is not great at optimizing for this type of hardware. It feels weird to have a square display on the inside. Even when you rotate it in landscape, it's barely different. It's like slightly wider versus this way. Like, let me try to find a good example. So let's say you're typing in Discord and it's like this. Okay, you've got a little bit of space on the top and the keyboard space on the bottom. Flip it, and you've got a little bit longer space for Discord, but still a big keyboard on the bottom. They're not that different anymore. Whereas on the phone, these would be very different experiences because it's more rectangular. Whereas on the Fold 2, because it's so square, using it in landscape versus portrait doesn't really make that big a difference. This display, obviously, you can only use in portrait. Bizarrely, the lock screen allows you to think about using it in landscape, which is like, no. Samsung, I don't even know why someone would attempt that. I mean, just looking at how YouTube loads on a screen like this, it is not optimized for it at all. And when you try to watch a YouTube video, the black bars are insanely chunk side bezels, and the viewing area is very tiny. I would not want to watch a video like this. You can punch in really, really far and cut off everything, but I would say YouTube videos are dang near unwatchable at that aspect ratio. So, yeah, I don't know why you would ever use the phone in that orientation, but I will say it's much better than the Surface Duo at registering how I'm holding the phone. It's very responsive. It's very fast. Apps aren't crashing. Things aren't lagging. The display is very responsive to my touch. It doesn't feel behind or laggy like the Duo did. You can't put an iPad mini in your pocket. That's true. There is a portability argument to be made. The question is, does it warrant the compromises? That's the big debate. So yes, An advantage of a foldable mini tablet like this is that I can fold it up and it will fit in my pocket pretty well. But if we're going to argue portability, I also have to bring up that this takes up a lot more space and a lot more thickness in my pocket than a traditional smartphone does. If I'm standing, it's not that bad. But I've had this in my pocket for the past few days, and typically when I start sitting down is when it starts to feel uncomfortable. If I'm standing up, it's not so bad. But if I sit down, because it's so tall and because it's so long, it's very inclined to want to fall out of my pocket. It doesn't want to stay in, or it'll push up against my hip, because this is a lot thicker and more chunk than a typical smartphone you put in your pocket. And that's without even a display. Um, yeah, I'm complaining about the outside display. Sony's like, so you're saying you don't like tall aspect ratios? Yeah, no, this isn't. The problem with this is mostly the keyboard. If you're just looking for scrolling through content or checking news or checking text really quick, it's not that bad. But as soon as a keyboard pops up, that's when it becomes dang near unusable to me. You can type with it. It's just not gonna be fun. It's very very crammed, and the text feels incredibly small too. It's just weird, and I really would love to ask someone at Samsung. Not that any of them would ever care what I have to think, because I'm an Apple sheep, and they probably know that. But why did they choose these aspect ratios? Is my question. Why would it have been so difficult to have a normal smartphone aspect ratio on the outside and just have this times two on the inside? I don't get why that was so hard. Like, why is that so difficult to do with a foldable? Because, in my opinion, if you're trying to make a two-in-one, the compromises can't be greater than the products you're replacing. That's kind of the point. So obviously, in any two-in-one, there's going to be compromises. I mean, originally when laptops first came out, I'm sure the performance was not as great as a desktop, but you had the portability factor. So eventually, the compromises, the display being smaller, the battery life not being great, the performance being worse. At a certain point, you have to decide: are the compromises worth the portability? And at this point, I don't think they are, for the sake of software being so clunky on an aspect ratio like this, and for the price of the product. Obviously, it's in the insanely high luxury segment. This is pretty much as expensive as smartphones get, and it's important to look at. It's very very easy, I think, these days when we're watching a lot of flagship smartphone reviews and we're watching tons of YouTubers talk about new phones. We get very, very comfortable with the idea that phones are $1,000. Yeah, some phones are $1,200. Yeah, some phones are $1,400. So $2,000, okay, it's a little bit more expensive than those flagships. But the truth is, for the average everyday consumer, I don't think we have an accurate grasp on how expensive this is compared to the best sellers. Best-selling phone globally for the past few years has been sub $800. So we're talking over double the price of the best-selling phone, which means we are nowhere near the price point to where this could start beating the price of just getting a tablet and getting a phone separately. And no, that tablet won't fit in your pocket, but the truth is, no one would buy a tablet at this size. Like, no one else in the industry is making tablets this small. So you're saying, well, can you fit the iPad mini in your pocket? Well, some of you are like, yeah, I got big pockets. Okay, ignore the iPad mini for a second. Well, can you fit the iPad Pro in your pocket? No, so it's more portable. Yeah, but I would almost argue this is an unfair comparison to make to something like an iPad Pro. For one, so different pricing and different hardware entirely. But if we're just talking tablets in general, using two apps on an iPad Pro versus using two apps on this, it's like a completely different story. Using split screen multitasking on my iPad Pro, completely different experience than using split screen multitasking on this. And in my opinion, I used the iPad Mini 5 when it came out, and I thought that was pretty cool. I like the idea of having a compact iPadOS experience, but you'll notice when people talk about the iPad Mini, they really, really come close to comparing it to, this is almost like iPhone levels of small. Like, this is almost an iPhone replacement. Some people, like, no one actually does that. I'm just saying a lot of people entertain the idea when they get an iPad Mini that you're like, you could almost just use this as a phone, because of how small and compact it is. In my opinion, that 7.9-inch display, that's about as comfortable as I get with a tablet display when it comes to portability, as small as you can get. 7.9 inches on a 4:3 aspect ratio is pretty dang small. Yeah, you can do it. You can use Discord and Twitter with 4:3 on a 7.9-inch panel, and the keyboard is manageable. You can type with two thumbs just like a phone. But you're really coming close to, okay, this is barely even a tablet because the screen is so small you can barely fit enough stuff on it. This is smaller than that. This is even smaller than 7.9 inches, which is why when I'm using it, I used it this morning for probably a good 2 or 3 hours, and you know what I realized after using it for a while? It doesn't really feel like a tablet to me. I've reviewed lots of tablets over the years, and I wasn't getting the feeling of tablet experience. It was just feeling like extremely enlarged smartphone experience. And I think that has something to do with the software and how Android treats a display like this, and it blows up everything, and there's lots of I won't say necessarily unoptimized because, you know, the apps do go edge to edge and that kind of thing, but there's just so much wasted space per app that it's so clearly obvious the apps you're getting and the user experience you're getting on a device like this was built for a phone. The software is thinking, oh, I'm on a square phone now. It's not thinking I'm on a tablet, whereas iPadOS and how apps optimize themselves for the iPad are far more noticeable. It's like, okay, I have more screen real estate. I can put a column here. I can put a bar here. I can make better use of this screen real estate, whereas the Fold doesn't do that. Very Complex donated and said, oh, sorry. The Pixel 3a and now Pixel 4a are the best-selling phones on Amazon, at least in the U.S. Yeah, that's not a surprise. If you're on Amazon buying phones, I guess you should go for the Pixel. I guess people don't buy from the Google store, but yeah. Globally, though, XR and iPhone 11 were the best-selling phones for the past couple of years. I don't really see it as a tablet and a phone. I see it as a big phone that's more pocketable, and that's why I think it's the natural evolution of the Note. It's not a great evolution of the Note if it can't take an S Pen because a fingernail will break the display. So maybe you could have that case if they figured out how to increase the durability of the display. But the problem is Samsung is marketing it as a tablet and a phone. So you can dictate it or you can define it as much as you want, but that's how Samsung is advertising it, and that's how a lot of marketing is handling the Galaxy Fold. They're saying like, well, $2,000 is a lot, but it's a phone and a tablet combined, so you're getting much more than a normal phone can give. But the truth is, I don't know if I would say this is a tablet experience more so than it is enlarged phone screen. Just a weird squarish phone that's big, that is slightly more portable. But I know it's weird to say that's not a tablet. Tablet's a very vague word anyway. How do websites adapt to the big Z Fold 2 display? Well, let me show you. I'll open up. No, I don't want to log into that. Just give me a. Man, I hate this browser. I'll try Mac Rumors. I use that a lot. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's clearly blowing up. It's kind of the same thing with Twitter. It's blowing up because it thinks you're on a phone, because you kind of are, and blowing everything side to side. And again, because it's so tiny and compact, like I can super duper comfortably hold this thing with one hand open. Like that's it. Like I could take a much larger display. I've got pinky room left over. Though I do have big hands, so that could be part of it. Maybe why I have a little bit of a disconnect here. Samsung should fold the bigger inner screen horizontally instead of vertically, so that when closed it wouldn't be so narrow and long, but more the shape of a normal smartphone. Yeah, I see what you're saying, but that would be actually very short and stubby. But I think what you ultimately mean is the phone should be like this on the outside. And then, sure, you can make a little square, weird aspect ratio when unfolded, but still. The thing is, right now, they can really only afford or produce at scale a foldable phone with one hinge. And I feel like you kind of need a foldable with two hinges. That would be a true Z that you can unfold into a full-size tablet and then fold up into a little phone. But that tech just isn't really doable right now. The iPad Mini has those chunk bezels, so it could be a smaller form factor or have a bigger screen if Apple wants it to. They are. I mean, we talked about that. Quo detailed the leak that's coming in 2021. He said the next generation iPad Mini will have like an 8.5-inch display with slimmer bezels, so it'll be like a smaller form factor but with a bigger screen. They chose the aspect ratio so that the screen on the inside could be larger. Just think the taller the outside screen is, the bigger the inside will be. Yeah, but size isn't the problem here. It's the aspect ratio. Size is part of the problem, but the truth is the software doesn't know how to handle an aspect ratio like this very well, which is why apps and third-party websites and stuff look very clunky and unoptimized. I mean, oh, come on. Like, guys, just look at Instagram. My goodness. They give you these giant chunk bars on the side. They don't know how to handle this at all. So that's how they handle Instagram. That's legitimately how it looks. Won't rotate. But that's partially Instagram's fault. I'm just saying I don't think many third-party apps are going to adjust or adopt because so many different companies are trying to do foldables a different way. So it's not easy for a third party to just checkbox support for the Galaxy Fold. Yeah, I did try to turn on the setting to have apps treat it like a tablet, and that's what I'm getting. It's not being very friendly in that regard. The outside is mostly for quickie. Yeah, I know what the outside's for. I'm just saying, if your point is that it can replace my phone in a tablet, it's a weird tablet and it's a small tablet with a lot of compromises and a weak display, and it's a long, skinny phone that takes up a lot of heavy space in my pocket. So the fundamental flaw here is that the compromises don't outweigh the benefits, and I think that's for 99% of consumers out there. That's the reason not a lot of people are going to buy this. And that's the reason why I still agree Samsung is too early. I mean, it's classic Samsung fashion to be like, we're going to be first to foldables. We're going to make foldable displays with before everybody, and we're going to do it right. Yeah, that's something Samsung would do because they don't really think things through. They just kind of rush them and announce them, and they want to get it out in the market before they really truly think through it. Is this a good idea? Should we do this? The tech isn't there yet for it to be worth it. In other words, I'm glad Apple has not made a foldable because I don't think there's a way to make a good one yet. Because Samsung has very talented and very capable engineers and great supply chains, and they make awesome displays and they make awesome hardware. And this is the best foldable they can make, and it's still not very good yet. In my opinion, it's very nice of Samsung to sell their patents and sell their prototypes to everyone to play around with. But ultimately, that's still kind of what they are at this point, is toys. That they're fun little toys to mess around with, but they're not, I would say, market leads or, this is where all phones are heading this way eventually. I still don't see that. I had a Note 5 when I was in high school, and the experience was worse than iOS. That's funny. Wyatt had a Note 5 as well. I remember that. What if in the future Samsung Fold supports S Pen? It could be more useful. The truth is, guys, the Galaxy Note does not sell incredibly well. I know that YouTubers and us in the tech community talk about it a lot, but it is a very, very small piece of the market. It's not even in the top. I don't think it's even in the top 20 best-selling phones of the world. We're talking like single-digit millions throughout the year, whereas iPhones sell in the tens of millions per year. It's a very small piece of the market, and that's how I kind of feel about the Galaxy Fold, is that I agree, it would probably complement people who like the Note series more, just to have something larger that they can take notes on. I see that argument, but not the future of phones. I won't go that far. And I will, once again, reiterate that I think it would be amazingly fascinating to see Apple make one. I don't think they will. I'm not saying they probably will one day. I'm saying I don't think they will because Apple's probably going to say the compromises are too great in the product. We can't assure quality control to our standards and make this phone, so we're not going to. But crazy wild card situation, Tim Cook steps down, some weirdo comes in as CEO and decides, hey, you know what? I want Apple to make a iPad mini / iPhone Pro Max into one foldable product. That would probably be the best one. And I mean that from the software perspective. mainly because Samsung does not make incredibly popular tablets. Some people buy them, but they're nowhere near as good as iPads and iPadOS and the performance you can get and how much the great value of things like the iPad Air 4 and the iPad Pro and the budget iPad. Like Apple is king of the true tablet, not the two-in-one. Well, you got to connect the keyboard and trackpad to it. No, I'm talking about like just the tablet experience. iPadOS is still unmatched in that aspect. Android can't come anywhere close as good as iPadOS when it comes to the app support on the iPadOS App Store and how apps are optimized for the different displays. So, knowing that, making a device that has a good phone experience and a good tablet experience, Apple would be the best ones to do it. Samsung is not going to be the best ones when it comes to software at making a two-in-one tablet phone experience. They're great at the hardware. The aspect ratios are a little bizarre, but the way it's built, the quality of the displays, the visuals, the colors are excellent, the speakers are great, the cameras are they're a bit more mid-range than you'd expect when paying $2,000. Like I took a few pictures with this and I was kind of like they're okay. They're not terrible, but what I appreciate is the amount of cameras. Maybe that's just from me coming off of the Surface Duo, but that the Surface Duo is $1,500, had one camera. This is $2,000 and it has five. Three on the back, one on the inside, and then another one on this side. So there's almost no configuration of this phone when you're using it and going, oh shoot, I have to unfold it to access that certain camera. No, like you can access directly the rear camera system from the back on the outside skinny display, which is weird, but it works. Basically, it's just best of the best hardware, Snapdragon 865, 5G modems. Not that I care, but when you're spending this much, you would expect that. Battery life has been pretty good as well. I can't complain about the battery. Fast charger included on all that. So, like, the hardware is solid. Other than the aspect ratios, they pretty much nailed the hardware. But the software experience, I think it's almost out of Samsung's hand. It's the fact that it runs Android. And if Apple were to make one, it would be fascinating. I'd be very, very curious to see Apple's approach to a product like this. An iPhone on the outside and you unfold it and you have iPadOS, then the question becomes how many compromises were made and how much does it cost? Because we all know Apple and their profit margins and how expensive they are and removing charge bricks and charging $600 for the Air 4 or charging $1,000 for iPhones that only have 64 gigs. We know how Apple is, right? So if Apple were to make one, obviously the comparison would be made. How much is this in comparison to just buying an iPad mini and an iPhone 12, that kind of thing? Is there a flash on the front? If not, 0 to 10, not worth it. Right. Imagine that one guy from the Pixel 4 event who said the Ultrawide thing is going to be CEO. So we think 120 hertz is fun, but 60 hertz is more cinematic and important. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. Saying you're first to something in tech is like finishing a class test as fast as possible. Yeah, you were first, but most of the times you don't have the best grade. I see the argument you're making, and that's a very good point, and I agree with the point you're making. Being first to something doesn't really matter, but being the best at it usually ends up prioritizing what most people care about and doing it well for the right price. That's pretty much how you do well. It's not about being first. iPhone was in many ways not the first of its kind, but yet that's where we define the beginning of the smartphone era because it was the perfect combination of so much hardware. But none of the hardware in the iPhone was that unique. There had been touchscreens before. There had been cameras and phones before. There had been hardware similar to the iPhone, but it was the execution that saved it all. And right now, after using the Z Fold 2, I don't think my opinion has done a complete 180, but it has done a 90. Let's look at it that way. So the expression oftentimes like Drew did a complete 180 on trackpad support for the iPad. Yeah, sometimes when I see how the execution is handled, my mind or my opinion can be changed on something. And that's why I'm very glad I bought and have started using this thing, because before buying the Fold, I had a lot of assumptions and a lot of doubt about this being a product that a lot of people will buy. And beforehand, I would have said, this is just a small niche and it's a short gimmick that's going to die off in a few years. After using the Galaxy Z Fold 2 for a few days, now I'm like, I think foldables are going to stay. I think they're going to be a piece of the market. I'm not convinced they're the future of smartphones, but I think similar to how the Galaxy Note has its little niche throughout the years, and people still buy that and people still get excited for it, even though it's not all phones, it's just a type of phone. I think that's what could happen with foldables. They'll be around and they'll probably be here to stay, and certain people will enjoy them, but they're not going to replace all phones. Too many compromises, too many complexities in engineering, and as these get cheaper, guess what? Regular phones will also get cheaper, and the amount of phone with great camera, great battery, great performance that you'll be able to buy for less over the coming years. You know, when the iPhone 12 gets old and the iPhone 12 starts becoming $600, $500, and the 13 and 14 come out, like everything gets cheaper at once, not just foldables. And so far, I haven't seen foldables get much cheaper since their beginning. Let's see. Very complex donated 100 bits. How do people manage to fill up 1 terabyte on a phone? Are you downloading all of Wikipedia? I can't even fill half of my base model. Usually, from the people I know that have done it, Nick, it typically requires downloading entire shows and movies, and not just like one movie or one show. Like, I want all of The Office downloaded. I want all of the Star Wars series downloaded. Like, it's usually people that are anticipating that they're going to be offline at some point and want to watch a bunch of content, so they want to store a bunch of things locally because they don't have internet at certain aspects of their life. So, I don't know. When does my Apple Watch Series 6 come in? Thank you, someone asks me. So, I don't know what Apple did with the Series 6. They did something weird. They did something screwy, sucky-wucky with the Series 6 this year, because I kid you not, I was streaming here on Twitch when we reacted to the event, and I was sitting there on my phone, just muscle memory, refreshing the Apple Store app. Just like close it, open it, like nonstop. I was like, whenever the Apple Store loads, I'm going to be ready. And I opened the Apple Store app once, and it finally opened after refreshing it for 5 minutes or so. And the Apple Store app was brand new, just updated. You could order the Series 6. So I'm like, okay, I want that red one. So I go to the buy page. I go to Series 6, and every single configuration of the Series 6 I click on defaults to deliver September 25th. Which I was very confused by, because at the event they said that deliveries would start on Friday. So I thought, oh cool, I'm going to order my watch and we'll get it on Friday. That's what I expected to happen. But no matter which configuration, didn't matter if I did the sport loop or the solo loop or the braided loop or stainless steel or aluminum, no matter which one I selected, the delivery details said September 25th. So within a few minutes, I just realized, okay, it doesn't matter which one I order, I have to wait an extra week compared to everyone else. Now, some people online were able to get theirs on Friday. No, I'm telling you, Scott, I tried to order the stainless steel, the space gray, the gold, the silver. I tried every configuration, and it still said, even the edition, yes, I checked the titanium one. All of them said earliest delivery possible was September 25th. I don't know if it has something to do with my location. Maybe they had a bunch of Apple Watches on the East Coast or a bunch in the Bay Area, but I was just right outside the zone for some reason. Didn't matter which one I configured, it kept saying September 25th. Didn't matter. And again, this all happened within 5 minutes, so it's not a matter of, well, Drew, you didn't order it fast enough. Like, I was there. I was refreshing the app. And there is no ceramic one, Mini Dinosaur. Ha-ha! Spoiler. You had to get the titanium one, which, again, for whatever reason, I guess based on my location being outside of the zone where they're available, but yeah, the earliest possible delivery for every single watch I wanted to order was September 25th. So that sucks. I've been tracking the order. It has technically shipped, but it's been going all over the place. First, it was at Shanghai, then it went to Taiwan, then it went to Alaska, and now it is just now cleared customs. And cleared customs means that they can promise me a delivery date now, I guess. And UPS is saying Thursday, so it's actually a little bit earlier than Apple thought. But it's still in Alaska technically. Well, it says it departed Alaska yesterday, so I don't know where it is now. But so it should get here in a couple days. But I was very annoyed because I don't understand what I did wrong or what I was supposed to do to to get it on Friday, and my only answer is that it must have had to do with something about where I live, because literally didn't matter which one I ordered. Should have sent it to me. You gotta send me your address, Mike. Just share it with the world in the chat. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. When you selling your Series 4? So RK, technically, I've actually already sold my Series 4 because the guy who wants it, I would tell you, but I don't know if he wants me to the rest of the world know. So I don't know if he wants me to keep it a secret or not, but for now I'll just say someone who wants my Series 4 very badly and offered me a great price for it has already paid me the money. I did not ask for the money up front. I told him that the watch is going to be late and that it's not going to be here for a few weeks, and he said he didn't care. He just wanted to get the money out of his account so that he could mentally know it was purchased and that there was no rush. And he said make sure to get lots of shots of the two Series 6 and Series 4 together. And no, Scott, I tried the 40 millimeter and the 44 millimeter. I tried both sides. I'm telling you, it didn't matter which configuration I tried. I was sitting there on my phone for a solid minute trying every single config. Do I need to get it with cellular? Do I need 40 or 44? Do I need to try it with this watch band? Didn't matter. All of them said September 25th at the soonest. So, I don't know what it is. But maybe the delivery guy is taking my watch and making a world tour. That's a good idea. So the Series 4 has already been sold. I'm wearing it right now, but it's no longer mine. It belongs to this guy. I really don't know if he wants me to keep it a secret or not. I should ask him. But yeah, he offered me a really good price on it to the point that it will easily cover the price of the Series 6. The only thing I'm worried about is the primary reason I started going with the stainless steel watches is because of the sapphire glass. I didn't care that much about the chassis. I mean, it looks cool, but the main thing was the sapphire glass. Whenever I used aluminum, it would scratch up really, really quickly. But I've wanted a product red watch for years. Ever since 2017, I've wanted one. So now that they finally have one, I was obviously going to get it, but I don't know if I should... Excuse me. I don't know if I should get a screen protector for it. I'm thinking about it. I don't like the look screen protectors give to Apple Watches. There's a few online that I've found that are really, really subtle and very inconspicuous, and it's hard to notice that your watch has a screen protector on it, but I'm wondering if that subtle annoyance of having a layer of either glass or plastic over the watch is worth buying the Series 6 and having it more than likely collect scratches over time, because that's happened to every single aluminum watch I bought. I don't like screen protectors either, but I also really, really hate getting scratches, and there's a good chance that I'm going to have this Series 6 for a really, really long time. I don't know. You guys use watches differently than I do. When I had my Series 3 and it was aluminum, I only had that thing for a month, and there was already like 3 scratches on it within 30 days. I don't know what I do differently from you guys, but I've had my stainless steel Series 4 for 2 years, and it looks perfect. It looks perfect condition. There's not a single scratch on the front. And I really like that. I so wish you could just get sapphire glass on the aluminum models. I would totally pay extra for that. I actually prefer the look of the aluminum to the stainless steel now, because stainless steel gets a little scuffed up over the years. You can polish it off, and it'll look brand new, but I don't like having to do that. I more agree with Mike. He had his watch for 6 months and said it's pretty scratched up. Aiden also says his aluminum Series 4 glass is scratched to hell. Hearing that is making me go, maybe the annoying little screen protector is worth it. Braden and Mason said, my Series 4 is scratched a ton, but I cannot use a screen protector. That's why I regret not getting a stainless steel model. It bothers me. I don't like screen protectors. I don't use them on my phone. And I don't like the one on here. I just have it because I know I'm probably not keeping it. But, yeah, I really prefer... Is there a way we can lift the glass off of this watch and put it on the red Series 6? Why do Americans pronounce... When you say it like that, I want to say aluminium. Aluminium. There's not a wrong way. There's just different ways. Apple is still using a newer version of glass, so it most likely won't be harder than on the Series 3. What? You mean it will be harder? What about a permanent screen protector? Yeah, no, that defeats the point. No. How does the display feel? Does it feel like plastic or glass? On the Z Fold 2? On the inside, okay. I mean, I hype this thing up quite a bit. I think for an Apple sheep, I've said a lot of nice things about this, saying it's changed my mind on foldables. Hey, that'll be a really good title. Um, it would get a lot of clicks and at the same time not exactly go backwards. It's not completely 180 degree my mind. I'm not like foldables are the future now. All I want are foldables. But my point is, I think there is space in the market, a small niche in the market for foldables, and I think foldables are here to stay, similar to the Note lineup with their stylus. But I don't think they're going to replace regular smartphones. Maybe for a small piece of the market they will. So I like the Z Fold 2. I'll just say it. I enjoy using it. I've had fun using it for the past few days. I love showing it to people. I went to a small gathering. Don't freak out. We had masks. We were taking precautions, but I went to a small family gathering recently. My in-laws are moving to the Philippines right now. They're going to be there for a long time, so we don't know when we're going to see them again. So we got to meet up with them, and we also got to celebrate my sister-in-law's birthday, and we had a few people get together for that. And I at that party got to show off. It was less than 10 people. It wasn't that bad. At that party, I got to show off the Z Fold 2 to a few people, and it was kind of fun to show off to people and let them know, like, hey, this is what technology can do. Here's what's coming out in the world. And people at that party were not tech people. You know, they were just average, everyday people. And it was it was cool to see people's reaction, that they would open it and look at it, and it's fun. That's I think the best way that's the best word I can describe it with. It's a fun device because it's different. It stands out. This is not something your average tablet or average phone can do, and because of that, it's impressive and it's fun to play with. But uh, toys can only last you so long. And at this point, that's what it feels like. It feels like a very, very expensive, fun toy, but not something I could recommend someone actually buy to hold on to for the long haul. Like if someone was like, I need a new phone or I need a new tablet, I would not say, well, you should try the Z Fold 2. It's $2,000 and a lot of fun. You know, that's not how I would recommend it. So I guess my long, long, complicated way to answer your question is that the display on the inside to me feels very plasticky. I notice it. Sometimes it collects oil, and I'll notice, like, just today before I started streaming, I was trying to close it kind of one-handedly, and I had to push my finger against the display a little bit when doing that, and there was like a tiny little scratch that developed just from my fingernail. And I believe it's rubbed out, which I've seen people recommend, is that when the plastic screen gets a little bit of a scratch, you can kind of rub it out. And now it's hardly noticeable. Watch those verbs there. But it does give a very plasticky feel, in my opinion. It doesn't feel like glass on the inside, which some people like plastic. I mean, some people that doesn't bother them. To me, it's not that big a deal. You don't really notice it when you're scrolling through Twitter, typing on Discord, watching YouTube videos. It's not that big an issue, but if you're asking if there's a noticeable texture difference between using a normal iPad and this, yes. In my opinion, I can notice it. If I were to just, if you were to blindfold me and put an iPad and a Galaxy Z Fold, and I just had to feel them, I could tell which one was plastic. Especially from the crease. That makes it painfully obvious. Let's see. Are you keeping the Series 6 then? Looks like it. Looks like it. I mean, there's a chance I could back out. I could technically just send the money back to the guy who sent it to me, but doesn't sound like it at this point. I've been wearing the Series 4 for over 2 years now, and I really, really loved the product red idea. I remember making concept art back in 2017 of the product red Apple Watch, and it looks so cool. I've seen so many real life pictures of it and people wearing it. To me, it looks awesome. And red is my favorite color, believe it or not. Uh, I know tech is all kind of built around blue, but that wasn't really intentional. I just, when I built the Tailosive network, I needed a different color for each channel. And I thought gaming, in my opinion, when I started branching out and making uh, more channels in the Tailosive network, tech was just one idea, but it wasn't the one I thought would take off. I was really like, well, most YouTube stuff is gaming, and my favorite color is red, so I'll make the gaming channel red because that's the channel that has the best chance of succeeding, given that's what most of YouTube is. And I was wrong there. It turned out tech actually ended up being more successful, but I was just like blue because I needed a color to pick from. So that's why the tech channel is all branded blue, but red is my favorite color. Um, so yeah, I still love my Series 4. Yes, to answer your question. If no one offered me a good price on my Series 4, I wouldn't keep the Series 6. The red Apple Watch is awesome, and the new features it has are nifty, but to me, I would not recommend people upgrade to the Series 6 if you have a Series 4. Um, Unless you can find someone who can pay a really good price for it, like I did. I mean, for me, I'm actually going to make a little bit of money by if anything, I'm downgrading. I will actually get a little bit more money by selling my Series 4 and just keeping the Series 6. I'll be profiting probably 30 or 20 bucks off of this sale. So that's why I'm keeping the Series 6, is because I actually get to make money off of it. But if I had to pay $100 to get the Series 6, still wouldn't do it. If it was like someone offered me, like after tax, the Series 6 is 460 bucks. And if someone offered me 360 for my Series 4, wouldn't sell it. If someone offered me 400, 420, maybe, but I'm really not interested, or I really don't feel the need to spend more money on my watch. I got mine, put it on, and said, wow, this is basically my Series 4 plus two things. How much did I pay for this again? Yeah, I stand by what I said in my Series 6 video, which I think a lot of people took the wrong way. Partially my fault, partially their fault. It's everyone's fault. Let's just blame everyone here. But in that video, my basic takeaway was that, in my opinion, some people disagreed, but in my opinion, the Series 6 is the smallest Apple Watch upgrade of all time. I don't think there's been a smaller one. A lot of people disagreed and said the Series 5 was smaller because all it got was a compass and always on display. In my opinion, though, always on display is a bigger and more noticeable difference than blood oxygen monitoring and a bunch of little mini upgrades. The Series 6 got a ton of little things that I don't think equate to a massive upgrade, like slightly brighter, always on display, blood oxygen monitoring, which for Scott is a big deal. I know that, but for the rest of us, you're going to probably do that 3 or 4 times and then never do it again. And faster charging, you charge it at night anyway, so I don't see how that makes a huge difference. 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, I don't see how that's going to make a big difference either. It's tiny little changes here and there, and the charge brick is gone, if you count that as a change. But something I think a few people forgot, I could be wrong actually, so I'll double check here, but how much did I get for this old watch? So, $500. I'll disclose that information because I guess it doesn't really reveal that much. But I thought that was a great offer. And I wasn't going to say no to that. I gave him plenty of chances to back out. I said, you really don't have to if you don't want to. And he said, no, I want that one. So he offered me $500 and has paid me $500. So it's been sold. Again, let me emphasize, I did not ask him to pay for it in advance. He just decided to pay me early anyway. So $500 for your Series 4, and I pay $460 for my Series 6. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Of course. That's a great deal in my opinion. In my opinion, both the Series 5 and 6 are equal. You know what I think it is? I think the reason people think this way is because, wait, how do you get to the compare section? See, this is the problem. When you open a website on the Z Fold 2, it thinks you're on mobile. It doesn't think you're on a tablet display. So I had to switch it over to desktop. Let me go to the compare page. Compare all models. Let me see if I'm right about this. Yeah, okay, I was right. The Apple Watch Series 5 doubled the storage capacity. All right, if we're talking small changes here, the thing is, the Series 6 just came out, so people are more aware of the changes, whereas the Series 5 is over a year old, so people aren't as aware as the changes. But the Series 5 was twice the storage as the Series 4. It went from 16 gigs to 32 gigs. Not that it makes a huge difference, but if we're talking small changes here, that was one of them. There was technically a new chip. The S5 was a newer chip that allowed for certain things like the always on display. While performance wise, yes, the S5 and S4 are near identical. It was a new chip. So a lot of people said Series 5 has the same chip. Technically, no. Same performance, but different chip. And I do agree Series 5 was a small year, but in my opinion, always on display is something that people can use literally always. Whereas blood oxygen monitoring, that's like an occasional health feature. Kind of feel bad for the guy buying a Series 4 for more than a Series 6. Drew finished him. I didn't set the price. I didn't even want to sell my Series 4. Yusuf, come on. Remember, I said multiple times I'm not buying and keeping the Series 6. I'll get one to review, but I'm going to keep my Series 4. He approached me and said, I'll give you $500 for it. And that's when I said, oh, okay, sure. It's all on him. And I gave him multiple options to back out. I said multiple times, you don't have to do it. Think about it. He just said he wanted to get a silver stainless steel watch. And he doesn't care about the changes with the Series 5 or 6. He just wanted a silver stainless steel. So that's why he went with it. There was no finessing of any kind. We're still talking. We're still on good terms. Let's see. Samsung doing 5G watches, isn't that unlikely? But why? Why? I don't get it. I've left always on display on so far and actually like it. I thought I was going to hate it and turn it off. I didn't like it when I used it on the Series 5 just because it felt like there were two versions of the display being on. Sometimes there would be something on the screen I would want to tap, but the display wasn't on yet, so I would have to tap it to wake it up and then tap it again. Can you lower the always on display brightness to improve battery longevity? If someone has a Series 6 in the chat, please let them know if you're aware. I am not aware at this time. I don't know if that will make a difference, but yes, I'm very grateful there's no 5G on the Apple Watch. Absolutely. Always on altimeter, so it knows when you stand up from the toilet for those calorie counts. Yeah, always on altimeter is also one of those like tiny little changes that I'm like, okay. I don't know why I would want to use the altimeter if I'm not doing a workout. I don't know, but tiny little changes here and there. But because of always on display, in my opinion, being a much bigger deal, I think Series 5 was a bigger upgrade than Series 3, and Series 6 was a smaller upgrade than Series 3, which is why I say Series 6 is tiniest upgrade yet. Yeah, the altimeter always on during the workout. That's what I thought it was before with the older watches, but now it's just always on anyway. I'm curious on how the Series 6 battery life will be with always on display turned off when it's the same 2.5 times brighter always on display. So yeah, that's something iFixit realized when they did their Series 6 teardown. I don't know if you guys saw that, but they saw a slightly larger battery in the Series 6 despite Apple claiming the battery life is the same. Always on brightness adjust automatically. You can't change it. Oh, okay. They can't change it. Oh, well. But yeah, iFixit said on the 44mm Series 6, it was a 3.5% larger battery, so it's not huge. And then on the 40mm Series 6, it was actually an 8% larger battery. Even though, yeah, they also said they found a bigger Taptic engine, so there was a slight update to the Taptics. Not really sure why they did that, but they did. And you get comparable battery life. So I'm very curious, and I'm not a big fan of always on display, so I'm going to try it. When I get my Series 6, I will turn off the always on display and see how the battery does. And then compare it to using it. Maybe I'll leave the always on display on first, use that for a week and see what battery's like every day, and then turn it off and see if I notice something. I'd love the altimeter for hiking. Being on top of mountains is always a different perspective, but being able to see your live progress is nice. Can't I thought they already do that. Am I wrong? I'm pretty sure the altimeter is always working on Series 4 and 5, even when you're monitoring the workout. I don't really get what the always on altimeter helps with. Battery on this thing is definitely longer, but that may be because my Series 4 was at 86% health. Well, yeah, obviously. If you're at 86%, my goodness, Scott, that's pretty low. My battery health is 89. Yes, my buyer knows that. Don't worry about it. My God, I'm tired saying my buyer. I'm going to text him real quick and see if I get an answer. 1 second. Did they just make it better? Make what better? Wear a wrist-mounted power bank and plug a watch rechargeable cable to keep the watch charged on the move. Oh my God. That doesn't. You guys are crazy. What's funny is I've actually done that before. What you just described, while it may sound stupid, I have done that before. There was a time where I wanted to track my calories and do a workout, but my watch was nearly dead. So I put a battery bank in my backpack and had a cable come out of it, charging my watch as it was on my wrist. And I felt very stupid, but I did do it. Oh, okay. Um, Found the altimeter for my watch. I'm 80 feet in elevation. You're right, Drew. Okay. Okay. So the always on altimeter is not really that big a deal because when you're doing the tracking workouts, yeah, you can see that stuff anyway. So I think it just helps with the watch face. I think that's what the always on altimeter helps with. Let's see. I don't want to look like a robot. Well, I used to wear the iPod Nano 6th gen on my watch, as my watch, and I would have wired headphones coming out of it to my ear, so I don't really care what I look like. 89% actually doesn't sound that too good either because Apple says the watch lasts 1,000 cycles until it reaches 80%, but you have to charge it not as often as a phone. Um, doesn't sound that good. I mean, I've had it for over 2 years now. I feel like that's pretty good. 2 years of use, 89%. Let's see. Let's not forget the most important feature, Memoji watch faces, which I deleted immediately. I deleted that immediately, by the way. But yes, very important. I'm gonna YouTube if a skydiver uses a watch to see the altitude change drastically. I don't think it works like that. I could be wrong, but how do they do the always on stuff, the screen and other things with the same amount of battery, even if it's 3% bigger? I think the S6 chip is. It has 20% better performance, but the silicon on the inside is what helps it the most. So I'm guessing it's the S6 chip that helped with that. Let's see. Yeah, that is something I should mention. I've recommended a lot of people get the Apple Watch SE, but I have kind of forgot. There's a lot of places right now you could probably pick up a certified refurbished Series 4 or 5 with pretty decent discounts there. And if you're wondering, should I get the SE or should I get an old refurbished Series 4? Series 4 is probably better. I don't think the Compass is worth it over the ECG. Not that you use the ECG that much, but I don't think you're going to use the Compass that much either. I'm interested in your opinions on the Z Fold 2 since I use a Note 20 Ultra because I wanted a full feature phone with S Pen, which I use daily. Yeah, we talked about it for quite a while on the stream. Sorry if you're just tuning in. But basically, I'm impressed. I like it a lot more than I thought I would. It has convinced me that foldables will probably continue to be present in the market, but they are not the future of smartphones. They will be a small piece of it for those who are willing to pay, but I don't see them getting drastically cheaper, and I don't see them replacing normal smartphones. Basically, my biggest issue with the hardware is the aspect ratios, but most of my complaints come down to software and Android as a whole not being very great at optimizing for really tall display and really square display. Like, Android's not good at handling these, and I think that if Apple made a foldable, it would be the best one simply because it would have their own custom silicon, so it would be really powerful, and also iPadOS and iOS would be much, much better at handling tablet and phone combined compared to Galaxy. I just found the Compass today, and I'm a 6-month Series 5 owner. He just now discovered he has a Compass. I had my Series 4 since launch day, so I don't think 86% was too terrible. Smaller batteries degrade faster, unfortunately. Just look at AirPods. Yeah, they do. I don't think 86 or 89% after 2 years is that bad at all. Because I still, fun fact, I forgot to take my watch off last night and I wore it to bed. Did I do sleep tracking? Nope, because I don't care about sleep tracking, don't find it useful. But I just happened to go to bed and I forgot to take my watch off. And I charged it not last night at all, but the night before that. And currently I'm sitting at 34%, going through the day, no problem. And I don't think I'm going to have to charge it today. It'll probably last me all the way till this evening. And that might have something to do with my usage of the watch. But in my opinion, if I can use the watch for 2 days straight after 2 years of use, that's not bad. That's pretty good. I haven't done sleep tracking once. Oh, okay. I haven't found the point. I still don't get it. I don't understand why you would do it. Software optimization, it's what's going to make the Apple Foldable the best one, similar to how the iPad is ahead of the rest of in the tablet market. That's if. Yeah, you're talking like Apple will make a foldable. I'm not convinced. I'm pretty convinced they're going to skip out on it. I'm convinced they have prototypes. That doesn't shock me at all, knowing that internally, yes, they're working on some iPhone and iPad hybrid device that can fold up. Sure. Are they going to scale that, mass produce it, and sell it to everyone? That I'm not so sure of. I don't think they're going to do it before the tech is ready, and given Samsung is making the best foldables right now, kind of making the only foldables right now, this is the best it can get, and my guess is Apple has something very comparable to this, very similar to this internally, and they're saying not good enough. They don't like the plastic, they don't like the crease, and they don't like how much it costs, and they don't like how thick and bulky it is. They don't like the durability issues. You know, they're not happy with foldable technology in its current state, and if it gets to a point where they feel like for a reasonable price they can make a compelling foldable with good features and good hardware that's thin and light and can fit in your pocket, then maybe they'll make one. But my guess is they're going to skip it. They're going to be like, nah. I've used sleep tracking on my Series 4 for the past few days, and it only consumes about 15% battery. That's great. I just don't see why. I don't care if it used 0% battery. I wouldn't do it. What's the point? Maybe you could pay me. If you pay me $10 a month to track my sleep, okay, sure. Apple. Who needs foldables? Invest in that Apple TV. That's right. The Apple TV, they haven't updated in 3 years. Yeah, they're investing a lot. Let's see. Apple will release the Apple Glass, and as soon as they do, all the foldables are the future companies will follow them and forget about foldables immediately. There's probably a good point to that with Apple's emphasis on augmented reality. If you can project holograms anywhere, foldables wouldn't be that useful because you can make the display as large as you want to. You can throw a visual or a TV on any wall. Yeah, maybe that's where Apple's putting their money, more towards glasses, less so foldable screens. Guys, I'll be your sleep tracker for you for free. Just text me when you're about to sleep and text me when you wake up. Then I'll simply do grade 2 math and tell you how many hours you slept. That's a great idea, Yusuf. I like this. Just count how many hours. That's about as useful as sleep tracking is on the watch. You slept good. You slept bad. You should sleep for 8 hours. You did not sleep for 8 hours. Why has no one really tried to beat the Apple Watch? Samsung has. They just haven't had much success. Several people have tried to beat the Apple Watch. They're just not getting very far. Do I like OnePlus? Yeah. It's the only Android phone I currently own long term. I'm returning this, but I did not return this. Partly because it was a gift, but I use this pretty much daily when I want to manage Discord or check Creator Studio or Instagram. All that stuff I do on Android, not on my phone anymore. Not on my iPhone anymore. But yeah, I use it a lot and I like it. It's a good phone. That's all the Twitter for Android stuff you see. That's on here. Um, it's fun. It's nice, affordable, simple, works well. So I prefer iOS. iOS is better, but I like Android, and I like OnePlus. I can track my own sleep. Man, I slept terrible last night. Wow, I slept great last night. I know. That's pretty much sums it up. Sleep tracking is to track REM sleep and restlessness. It's not about how many hours you sleep, I think. I know, I'm just saying if I'm restless, I can tell. I'll wake up the next morning and be like, man, I didn't sleep well at all last night. I've tracked my sleep before. I've done it for prolonged periods of time. And you know what? I figured out none of that information was useful. I was doing it back in high school, actually. They sleep tracking is really not a new thing. It's not that hard to track someone's sleep activity. I mean, the watch can only track so much, but when I first got my iPhone 5, that was the first phone I ever had. I got a sleep tracking app. You basically just plugged in your phone and left it on the side of your bed, and using the accelerometer, it would measure when you were moving a lot or when you were snoring and that kind of thing. Basically, what the watch is doing. And I did it for I think 3 or 4 months, and I tracked the data for a while. And on certain nights I wouldn't sleep well, on certain nights I would sleep well. I don't know what to do with that info. Silent 2069. You should make that a meme on Twitter. When your Apple Watch tells you how you turned over 2 times while asleep, slip track. With the stonks face guy. That would be wonderful. The watch is also tracking your heart, but yeah, I know. But that's what is a. Oh, your heart rate went up. Bad dream. Bad dream. Your heart rate went down. Very relaxed. Good. Very relaxed. Like I don't like. What do I do with that information? I don't get it. Try better next time, or sleep more like that. What do I do? If I wake up, let me try again tomorrow night. I'll try to sleep better. Guys, I breathe when I'm asleep. I like the convenience of Apple sleep tracking, but the features are underwhelming compared to the other sleep tracking app I used. I still don't understand what you use the information for. Well, you can see your REM cycles. Okay. What are you going to do with that? Is it just for fun? I mean, like, the activity stuff is more active because it can be like, hey, you haven't worked out today. So let's go work out now. Like it's like, hey, why don't you stand up because you've been sitting for a long time and that's not good for you. So time to stand. So I can look and be like, okay, I'll stand, or okay, I'll go for a walk. Okay, I'll go for a run. I'll burn some calories. Sleep tracking, by the time you read the report, the sleep has already happened, and you got to get up and go to work. There's no time to go back to sleep and try it again. So the argument is it's cool. It's cool, man. But it is cool to see the data. I like the data. It would be handy for doctors if they ask you how you're sleeping, I guess. I don't know. I feel like if you actually had sleep issues, there would be more dedicated equipment. I doubt the doctor would straight up just be like, well, what you need to do is buy an Apple Watch Series 6 and show me that health data. I know. I also hold my arm differently to cheat the system. So when you do sleep tracking, just put your watch on the other end of the house and it'd be like, wow, you didn't move at all last night. You didn't even have a pulse. You slept so good. Can pooping count as a workout? Yeah. One time I almost passed out on the toilet because I was pooping so hard. Man, I burn a lot of calories on the toilet. Samsung or OnePlus, which is better? Apples and oranges. OnePlus probably has better value, but if you're just looking for a phone with all the stuff packed into one, like if money's not a factor, Samsung, but if money is a factor, OnePlus. Watch at 8 a.m. You sleep bad. Get more sleep now. But I have to work. Sleep! Apple Watch will say, looks like you didn't sleep. Are you dead? Says, yes. Siri's like, I'm sorry to hear about that. Whatever happened to OnePlus's earbuds? I don't know. I never tried those. Also, we didn't get any mental health features. Did we ding leakers on that? Yeah, we should have. I remember I remember John Prosser in our Discord telling me, "Drew, you're going to love the Series 6. It has some really cool features that you're not expecting." And I was like what? I can't think of anything they could add other than slimmer bezels that I would be interested in. And he was like, "I thought the same thing, but once you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about." And we were looking at these messages he sent back in May, and we're like, what do you think he was talking about? Did he think I would be super interested in blood oxygen monitoring? Because he just kept hyping up about how excited and how much I would like it. And it wasn't a color. He just said it would have a feature, not a finish, a feature that would be really, really cool. And I was like, what? I don't get the mental health thing. What would a mental health feature do? You're stressed. That would just make people more stressed by telling them that the watch is detecting your anxiety. Yeah, I don't know what he was referring to. Samsung does sell a crap ton of phones. OnePlus Nord is not available in the US, sadly, so that's why I haven't talked about it. It's not really a thing here, but still, OnePlus phones are typically way better priced. Is anyone buy OnePlus phone in the USA? I don't go out much that often, but I don't know that many people in my social circle with OnePlus phones, to be honest. I can't think of a friend or a family member that has a OnePlus. I know lots of people with Samsungs and iPhones, and I know a few people with those old Moto phones, the real cheap ones, but I don't know anyone with a OnePlus. Samsung is like GM of phone companies, tons of products with similar features in all price ranges. Well, yeah, because Samsung makes more money off of parts and manufacturing things for other smartphone makers than they do their phones themselves. They make tons of money by building iPhone displays and making SSDs for other companies, but their phones themselves, the profit margins aren't that high. Even if someone asks me if I'm okay, I get stressed from that. Exactly. That's why I don't understand how a watch could help with mental health. Didn't they say in the event that the Apple Watch Series 6 can help in COVID? I didn't see them say that. Did they say that? I don't recall them bringing that up. Let's see. OnePlus phones are not that much better priced. The OnePlus 8 Pro competes with the S20 Plus, and that's only $100, $200 more expensive. I'd say that's pretty big. No, it's more than that, right? OnePlus 8 Pro was $900. S20 Plus is like $1,200. That's like a $300 price difference. I'd say that's pretty big. $300 cheaper? That's the difference between 11 Pro and iPhone 11. They're working with scientists to maybe be able to help with it, but not today. Oh, okay. Don't forget hand wash detection. Oh, yeah, that's a big deal. That's exclusive to the Series 6 as well. No one else can do that. Anyway, battery day is coming up, folks. Oh, my God, it starts in less than an hour. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I hope you guys who are free to watch it are able to watch it. But keep in mind, Tesla investor events are not the same thing as Apple events, guys. Completely different things. An Apple event is like a movie trailer. A Tesla event is like a like a college class lecture by a professor. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of nitty gritty detail. It's not very flashy. There's not a lot of pre-edited footage. Yes, I did see Elon's tweets last night. I almost feel like we know everything about Battery Day at this point. It's pretty much going to be, we're going to keep working with all of our current battery suppliers. In fact, we're going to expand production with all our current battery suppliers, but also we're going to start mass producing our own battery cells with very little degradation, much cheaper, higher energy density, but we're not going to be able to scale production of those battery cells until 2022. And they will primarily be going in the Cybertruck, Semi, and Roadster first, but in the Plaid Model S. But all the other Teslas are going to keep using the LG Chem 2170 cells for the foreseeable future. And in time, they hope to increase energy density with their partners I feel like that's most of what this event will be. But Autonomy Day was 3.5 hours. It's a long event, so I'm not really sure how long we should expect this one to be. Looks like OnePlus will have 120 hertz as standard on all their future devices since it's confirmed the 8T. Well, that doesn't mean OnePlus Nord will get 120 hertz, so I wouldn't jump that far. But yeah, I saw the report. 8T will have 120 hertz. Doesn't really shock me given the OnePlus 8 had 90 hertz. I don't know. What else can you do with this? Where else can you go? What are you going to do? Make it water resistant? Add wireless charging? There you go. That's it. That would make it pretty great if they just added 120 hertz, wireless charging, water resistance. Done. Perfect phone. Nothing else to update. Oh, make the display more squared off. I'm tired of these curved screens. Also, that random drawing was not random for Battery Day. I see so many Tesla fanboy people there. So it was dependent on your YouTube channel, I'm guessing. I can't wait to see the Model S Plaid. Model S desperately needs something to make it appealing. Really hope we can see it today. That would be epic. Elon said that he would be wearing that plaid outfit soon, so I was hoping. And he said there would be lots of exciting products unveiled, or exciting things unveiled at Battery Day, but Elon has a very vague definition of exciting sometimes, so hopefully that means we can actually get a product unveil, like the Model S Plaid or the Roadster could be there. I don't know. That would be awesome. On the topic of Tesla, do you think the Model S should have the nearly same interior as the 3? In my opinion, it would make it way too similar. No, I don't think they should have the same interior, but I wouldn't be against the Model S having Model 3-like features. Really great concept out there called Alwyn Art. I've tweeted a few of his stuff and used some of his artwork and thumbnails, which he's more than happy with. I've made sure I checked with him. And he redesigned the Model S interior on his Twitter account, which I really like. I'm actually in favor of the landscape display. I don't really care for the portrait mode display, but I think since the Model S is more about performance, it should have a display behind the steering wheel, especially the Plaid one, because it's a performance car. So having more displays is okay with the Model S because, again, you're going to be using it more as a sports car. But I would like the Model 3 landscape display, maybe a bigger screen. Like give the Model S something more fancy. Like the Cybertruck has a 17-inch display on the inside, whereas the Model 3 and Model Y have 15 inches. I would say give the Model S Plaid the Cybertruck display. Give it that 17-inch screen, and then also give it a heads-up display maybe, and a little bit of information they could look at behind the steering wheel. A little bit more complicated because it's a low-volume vehicle, so yes, it would add to cost and be more complex, but Model S should be the car that lets you kind of go all out with the screens and maybe make it so you can swivel it or something like that. I don't know. Just give a little bit more options because it's going to be probably a $100,000 car. Whereas if we're talking cheap vehicles like the Model 3, Y, and Cybertruck, no, I say those interiors are great. Leave them the same. Don't need to change them. Very complex. Thank you for the Prime Gaming sub. Oh, is that a thing now? To a Tier 1 sub. Thank you. What band did you order with your Series 6? It's a red sport loop. It's not a solo loop. Solo loop is so stupid. If you buy a Series 6 with the solo loop and it doesn't fit, you have to return the entire watch. You can't return just the watch band. That's ridiculous. I'm so glad I didn't order a solo loop because they didn't know that until a few days ago. People were getting their solo loops and they were like, this doesn't fit. I need to try a different one. Well, they were like, well, turns out you got to return your whole Series 6. And they're super back ordered right now. If you try to order a Series 6 now, you're not going to get it till like end of October. So I don't plan on wearing the sport loop. I have a watch band that looks almost exactly like that one. I'm just going to put a watch band I already have on the Series 6. But anyway, red solo loop, I lift you up. Anyway, I got to go, guys, but thank you all for watching. Hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye. See you for the Battery Day recap.